Well, the DM drama continues as now it's reached a new stage of insanity as apparently Daniel has been declared an SP. For those who don't know, an SP is a very, very awful category within the church. I'm going to acknowledge freely Liz Gale, who does a very good channel. She, I think, technically broke the news, so we're going to listen to her for a little bit and then move forward.
Say that the Church of Scientology has declared him a suppressive person. Now, if you're a Scientology watcher or a cult watcher, you might know what this means. This effectively means the church is calling him an evil person, and now all of his friends and family members that are Scientologists in good standing, they will no longer be able to communicate with him.
There's actually more Masterson news, but that's going to be its own kettle of fish. So I'm going to just concentrate on the SP issue. For those who do not know, SP essentially just means that you're an official enemy of the church. And usually you should not have any more contact with an SP if you're in good standing in the church. In other words, if you're a good church member of Scientology, you will avoid the SPs if possible, as much as possible. Now, most of Daniel's family is still in the church, and they're really big. They're not super powerful, but they are many, many Hollywood actors, many people with connections who are still loyal to Daniel. So how this is going to work out is unclear. Why they're doing this doesn't quite make sense for either side, because again, the time to separate from Daniel would have made more sense a couple years before all this. As it is now, it looks blatantly clear like it's public relations, and that presumably both sides came to an agreement. It seems highly unlikely they just did this out of the blue. They probably negotiated with the family and with Daniel, saying this is just getting too controversial for both sides. It's better for both sides that they separate from one another. So now Daniel can claim that he was brainwashed by the church, and for its part, the Scientology people can claim that Daniel was never really a hardcore member, which to be fair is true. He was a member, he did raise money for them, and from what we can see he was loyal, but he was not Tom Cruise, right? This is not a guy who was hardcore into the philosophy and or ideology. He just seemed to be, quote, a typical loyal member who was a rich celebrity, but he never was obsessed with the OT levels the way Tom Cruise is. At this point, Tom Cruise is very well versed in all the church teachings, good or bad. He is at an incredibly big height within the church. And I would guess in the back of my mind, that's really who this is for. It's really helping the high level church people who are public figures and who have to answer for Daniel. But now they don't have to, because technically he's an ex-member, so they can just rewrite history and say, yeah, we showed up at events together, but I really never knew this guy. I kind of had my suspicions, etc., etc. And although this is mostly cause for joy, because whatever way we're going to go with this, internally, externally, this is a big mess for Scientology, and that's a good thing. However, there are some innocent people, and I will just end with one minor tragedy, because one good thing about this entire mess is that perhaps Bijou would have been forced to separate from the church, or at least distance herself, and that would have saved her daughter. But if this is being done to keep Bijou in the church, it is likely that her daughter will still be exposed to the church teachings, and that's pretty awful, because the relationship of Scientology to children is usually abusive. It's very rare that any children who grow up with Scientology do not grow up later with deep mental, physical, and emotive issues. So some innocent people will be hurt by the SP declaration, but I think for most people this will be a cause for joy, that it does suggest that they know that they're going to lose a lot of current lawsuits and they're just going to limit their damages. But this is really for more future lawsuits